most people today, not just children, do not feel safe.
I would say that's true.
They don't feel safe for whatever reason. We've got all the polarization, we've got all these things happening.
Parents are stressed.
Yes. All the traumas of the past that all of us have. And so, can I share a tool right here? Because I want people to have this one.
I would love to see it. I would love to use it. Okay.
So whenever you feel any sort of tension coming or anything, I want you to put your hands on your belly.
Okay, both?
Okay, you can put both.
Okay.
And I just want you to relax your abs. We have personal trainers telling us to keep our abs tucked in.
Yeah, I'm on TV, Al. I mean,
no, I want you to let it all hang out, Pamela. I'm a 70s girl, you are too. So we're gonna let it all hang out. When you relax your abs, first of all, your posture can lift. And you can actually lift your ribs up a little away from your hips and elongate the front of your body. When you relax your abs and elongate the front of your body, get long and soft in the front, your brain says, there's no reason for me to be afraid.
The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and not necessarily those of WKTV Community Media.
Hello, West Michigan. This is Grand Tap Media Business TV. My name is Pamela Keim, your host. The spirit of the show is to introduce West Michigan to all the businesses, nonprofits, individuals that can help us thrive in our life. And we have a great guest today, and I'm so happy she's here. We are on part 2 interview with Elle Ingalls, and she is a riveting coach, and she is a speaker and a trainer and an author. And she works with high performance people, those type A++ people, and helps them deal with stress and helps them in anxiety and lowers it enough for them to go further up in their career, find out what they're really good at, and I guess, 10x that. But today we're going to be talking about stress with children because she wrote a book, and that's kind of what got her into this. She started coaching athletes to help them deal with stress. And you might be looking around and a lot of kids are stressed out, or maybe they just look like they're just have no light in them. And it could be they just don't know how to deal with life. And so I want to welcome Elle Ingalls here today. So let's start talking about what we really need to talk about is what's going on with the kids, because they are the next generation.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to cope with it. They've only been on the earth 10, 12 years, and they're supposed to have all the answers and make major decisions. You understand that, right?
Absolutely.
So they're dealing with stress and they're growing up with social media. So share a little bit about how did you get this book going? Because you realized that these kids, was it your own kids that were stressful?
No, it was actually 2020, and a person I had coached, a woman I had coached out west, like 2-3 years before, she called me and she goes, Elle, we parents are just losing our minds. I mean, it is so crazy. Our kids, like especially those who are really social in school, now they can't go to school, were really falling behind. In fact, I worked with several teens during 2020, 2021 who normally would be straight A students, like doing really well and just not having any issues, suddenly having major issues, like can't even get out of bed issues.
Yeah.
So she called me because she had a son, 15, who was missing 56 assignments in one semester and failing everything but one class, all but one class. And he was normally an A, sometimes B student, and she like, I don't even know, we don't even know what to do. Would you be willing to coach him? And I've coached many children. I've coached children as young as 10 in my method. They tend to be high achieving students. But I said, yes, of course. So I started working with this student, and he had 6 weeks left of the semester. There's probably no way he's going to get all those assignments done, right?
Right.
So here was the first thing. One of the first things I do with any of my clients is help them understand the stress cycle and the stress response, that fight or flight stress response. And children super get it because I say, you either want to fight or you want to run away or you freeze. Or you may be fidgety, like clicking the pen or jiggling your leg or biting your nails, or you just can't sit still at school.
Right.
Like, what are you feeling? And so they tell me, and I'm like, okay, the only reason you feel all that is because you released these hormones from your adrenal glands. They go out into your bloodstream and they make you feel all these things. They make you aggressive, the bully, you want to fight, or you're scared. So what do you feel? So I really tap into what they feel. So I'm working with Michael, but then at the same time she goes, parents need you. The parent said this, parents need you. So at the very same time, one of my coaches throughout the years has been the best-selling author, Robert G. Allen. He wrote Multiple Streams of Income and all those real estate books in the past. And so his books had made it possible for me to create my business. And I worked with him as a mentor back in 2012. Well, he reached out to me and said, I'm putting a little class together for people to write a book in 90 days. You want to join? And I'm like, perfect timing. I was very skeptical that I could write a book in 90 days. But I'm also one of those people that it's like, if you give me something challenging, I'm going to do it. So,
wow. See, other people would be saying, no, I need a year. Just to just get it set up.
Right.
What are you gonna do?
So I joined the program and I just got to work and I wrote that book in about 90 days. It took me like a month and a half more to get it on Amazon and get it up and everything. But I wrote Pressure-Free Parenting, and it's talking about my 10-second solution to stress and anxiety. And I wrote the book. It's in 3 parts, and you can get it right on Amazon. It has, in the first part of the book, I teach you the method. And I don't teach all of my tools because I have over 50 tools I teach my clients. The tools I teach are the basic tools that anybody can use very easily to stop the release of these stress hormones that basically cause our brains and our bodies to dysfunction. So I have that in the first part. The second half of the book, I talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I talk about the very basic needs of food and safety and love and belonging until we get to that top one, which is self-actualization. And it's always been viewed as a pyramid, but I don't think it's a pyramid. I think it's layers. And I think these layers, some parents are hitting on some of the higher layers, but they're not feeding their kids very well.
Oh, you mean like
nutrition, basic nutrition. If you don't get the building blocks that create all our cells,
right.
How the heck are you supposed to, our bodies are pretty miraculous because they deal with all the crap we put in it, right?
In the beginning.
I have,
right,
then there's going to be breakdown. But I've talked with people really high achieving parents. I can't believe what they feed their kids.
I can't either.
What the heck? So I've always been a bit I've always been a bit of a foodie, in that I always create really beautiful food for my family. It's a love language for me, I think. But are we hitting on some of those most basic things? Most people today, not just children, do not feel safe.
I would say that's true.
They don't feel safe for whatever reason. We've got all the polarization, we've got all these things happening.
Parents are stressed.
Yes. All the traumas of the past that all of us have. And so can I share a tool right here? Because I want people to have this one.
I would love to see it. I would love to use it. Okay.
So whenever you feel any sort of tension coming or anything, I want you to put your hands on your belly.
Okay, both?
Okay, you can put both.
Okay.
And I just want you to relax your abs. We have personal trainers telling us to keep our abs tucked in.
Yeah, I'm on TV, Al. I
want you to let it all hang out, Pamela. I'm a 70s girl, you are too. So we're gonna let it all hang out. When you relax your abs, first of all, your posture can lift. And you can actually lift your ribs up a little away from your hips and elongate the front of your body. When you relax your abs and elongate the front of your body, get long and soft in the front, your brain says, there's no reason for me to be afraid.
I even feel better. I told you when you walked in the door, I'm trying not to be stressed out, but I was so excited about interviewing you, and I knew it was going to be a 2-part. I'm trying to get it all right. But I've been running, and I have, like everybody else, your stomach, I have digestive issues. I have, that I haven't been able to cure.
So you can use this tool anytime. Like a kid in school who has test anxiety, just relax your abs. I'm going to give you another little tool specifically for test anxiety, social anxiety. You might see people sometimes go like this, getting ready for something, They're rubbing up and down their legs.
Yeah.
Our nervous system has a directionality. I learned this from my fantastic body coach out in Colorado. we have a directionality. For example, our arms, the tops of our arms and the tops of our legs. You know how if you pat a dog and you pat it the wrong way, it bristles?
Yes.
It doesn't like that. Well, we're the same way. So you need to take your hands and go down the tops of your thighs, but don't go back up. And
Don't go like this?
Correct. Pick your hands back up and start at the top again and go back down.
And just stop.
Yep. And you can do it on your arms too.
Okay.
All the way over your hands, the tops. Okay. You just do that a few times and your nervous system settles. Because you've literally soothed yourself.
I heard that a lot of the what people are feeling too is the we're the human touch.
Yeah.
You know, the human touch is, you know, we're less and less
Yeah.
as, even though we're being exposed to more things that would lead to the human touch, right?
Yes.
But people are less touching each other, and that's what's causing. Because you know, when babies just cry, we never could figure out why they just cry to cry. They just want to be held.
They just want to be touched.
They want to be touched.
Think about how for millennia humans, we all were very, very close. At night, we all slept together in our little huts and in our caves and wherever, right? We were all very close, and you could hear the heartbeat of your parents as a child.
I felt very safe when I slept with, you know, my mom next to me. You could hear my kids would fall right to sleep as soon as they were scared and they came and, all right, you can lay next to me, you know, and
because
go
they
to sleep.
hear that, they feel that. It's a beautiful thing. So you can self-soothe with just that little motion like that.
Okay, but just go up like that, okay.
Most people, I grew up in New England where you were practically sent to the principal's office if you didn't sit up straight, right? Like,
Well, I think that's really something to do with your posture, yeah.
well, here's the deal. And we were taught to push our shoulders back. So I'm going to teach you something. And because most of us are moving into a C curve with our spine, like
With social
hunched
media?
over, and we're on our phones, exactly. So the first step is from your shoulders into your ribs, go wide. When you go wide, you open up that heart, and that's going to make more of a connection with your person.
Okay,
So go wide.
how's that look?
It's beautiful. So
Okay.
just go wide and don't worry about how you look. You're already perfect and beautiful. So go wide, and then the next is kind of weird, but we're going to do it if you're up for it.
Okay, yep.
Grab your butt. You can
My
touch your own
butt,
butt.
really? Okay.
Grab your butt, pick it up, and pull it up towards your spine and sit back down on your
Just
leg
pull
bones.
it like this?
And sit down so you're more on your leg bones.
Oh, I see,
Okay.
okay.
Your hamstrings. I call these the H's. We opened the heart. Now we're sitting on our hamstrings. These muscles here, not our butts, because think of a dog. You know, if you pat it this way, it bristles. What does a dog do when it's scared? With its tail.
Stands right up.
It tucks its tail.
Oh, yeah, dogs tuck it.
Yep.
Okay, cats
the,
are.
the fur stands up on the back.
Oh, okay.
And then the tail tucks.
I never had a dog, I had a cat.
Oh, she had a cat. Okay, so dogs tuck their tails.
Oh, okay.
And they get tight.
Okay.
Okay, when they're scared. When you're sitting on your butt, it's like you're priming your brain to think, to be afraid, to be scared. So when you get your butt behind you, rising up your spine, it now supports your lower back, so you won't have lower back pain in your later life. And it's to propel you forward. So now you're in a little more of an action mode. I teach students to sit like this. They'll be the only one in the class with great posture, right?
Oh my gosh.
But when they sit like this, you're awake. I had a college kid who drove himself back home and to college, you know, come home for the weekend or whatever. And when I changed his seat in his car and got him sitting like this, he admitted that he would get drowsy and almost fall asleep at the wheel. And he goes, I don't feel drowsy anymore now because his spine, all your nerves and blood vessels are working for you.
Right.
So heart space wide, sit on your hamstrings, not your butt.
Okay.
And you're just going to start to get into a little bit of a better feeling. And you're literally telling your brain you're not under attack. There's no reason to trigger fight or flight because we've elongated the front. If we're really under attack, we're going to coil up to fight or run away.
You can just feel.
Gonna protect.
You protect.
And that's why the shoulders go up. We're like, "Argh."
Yeah, and I think that there's kids are tuning out. I don't know if that's their way of dealing with stress.
Yes.
They just want
isolation and tuning out. And remember, we've shut down this part of the brain. They can't see and hear you very well. So if you tell your kid to take the garbage out, and they don't take the garbage out, and you remind them again and they still forget, they didn't even hear you because it went in, but it didn't lodge in the hippocampus. They don't remember because it never lodged to begin with. And so we have a lot of blaming and shaming in our homes because we aren't even communicating and people aren't really hearing. One of the biggest complaints I hear from people in the workplace is, I don't feel seen, I don't feel heard, I don't feel acknowledged. Well, if your manager is stressed, they can't see you, they can't really hear you, so how can they even acknowledge you? They're in their own mess.
I would say so. I think a lot of people are like that.
We are. And parents have had such a hard time the past few years. So I encourage you as a parent to look at your first part of the day. Like, what's happening in the first part of the day? If you say these words, hurry up, we're going to be late, you're probably triggering the stress response in everybody in the house, right in that moment. So now people can't find their stuff, right? Where's my backpack? I can't find my books. Where's my science book? You know, you can't find anything.
Right.
You'll also get uncoordinated. So like you'll drop the knife in the kitchen when you're trying to make the sandwich. Like things get uncoordinated and it's a mess trying to get everybody out the door into school. I'll never forget, we're a hockey family and it was a cold night. First big snow. Our family's all out in the snow after hockey practice, like playing outside. Well, when they came in, we didn't set everything up to dry properly. So in the morning, the boots are still wet, the mittens are still, like everything is still a mess.
I know those days.
You know that. So then I finally, I pack extra socks. Do you really think my kids are going to change their socks because their boots are wet? No. I mean, but I did it. Like I grabbed extra socks. I was just trying to do all the mom things. Then we get in the car and the garage is so packed with junk, we can't park in the garage. So we're outside. There's frost on the outside of the windshield, but also on the inside from the hockey bag,
cold.
you know. So we're going like this. They don't make the scraper for the inside of the windshield. It's designed for the outside. So I'm going like, and these little tiny slits are going, and the kids are going, look, Mommy, it's snowing in the car. And I'm like, oh my God. I must have triggered 20 times that morning.
Right.
Just trying to get my kids to school and me to work. That's what happens almost every day for people. It's like these little moments where we're tight, hurry up.
Yeah.
And every time we do it, we're releasing these stress hormones. So how do we not do that? It starts when you first wake up. Here's just a little thing for parents. When you first wake up, I don't care if you live in your apartment and your bedroom has no windows, put something pretty on the wall. Look at something beautiful. If it's dark, listen for something beautiful, like maybe you hear a bird or a church bell or like something beautiful. Or even your children starting to wake up can be beautiful.
Right.
Like, what do you hear that's beautiful? Beauty is really important in my life, and I say it all the time.
Well, you being around music too. That's
Yeah.
funny, yes.
So yes, make sure your alarms are not the Power Ranger. It's got to be like, go something gentle and beautiful. If you need to set up a few and the last one is the Power Ranger bed, you know, that's fine.
That makes sense.
But start with something very gentle to wake you up so that you're not triggered when you first wake up. And then and then purposefully, because when you're coming out of sleep, that is a window of time where your brain is in a certain pattern of waves. If you are in prayer, if you're in beautiful thoughts for your day, thoughts of gratitude, confidence, love, those three words are powerful. Even if you just said gratitude, love, confidence. Like if that's all you said, you're going to set something up. Before you have your first conversation with anyone in the house, open up wide and think of something or someone you love before you speak. It will change what happens next. And see if you can zip your lips whenever you want to say, hurry up. This is not easy. Pamela, I struggled with this. Just shut up. Like, don't say it. It took me weeks to not feel the pressure of wanting to say those words.
I would have that struggle too.
It was hard, but the less I said, and the less I was like the cruise director. Don't forget, you have hockey. Did you wash your baseball gear? Dad's picking you up. I'm going to pick you up from here, but then I've got to go to the library. All the stuff. I put that down. It's a color-coded calendar behind my head. They can all read. I didn't say a word about the days. I just talked pleasantly with my kids at the breakfast table. And yes, I made a full breakfast every morning, almost like a chef. Like, oh, you like French toast? Oh, would you like, I just made beautiful, I love breakfast. So I make these beautiful breakfasts every morning.
Do you think, real quickly on the breakfast and the food, is to put on a good meal, you have to have patience?
Patience,
Cooking,
yes.
Good cooks, it's patience. I mean, they look really like they're going through the motions very quickly. But I always tell people would say to me, I said, I don't know if I would ever be a good cook because I don't have the patience to cut, the onions really, saute them. To me, I used to just, what's the difference if I just throw everything in? Everything has to go in on different times.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, also, somebody said something cool at this summit I was at yesterday, said that his wife always says she cooks with love. That makes the difference. Are you cooking with love?
Right.
So I cook my breakfast every morning with amazing love for whoever slept over, right? It's like, whoever it is. So you might need to get up a little earlier to do that. But if you're not triggering the stress response, it won't be stressful.
Yeah.
So you do all your things, and maybe it's just like bananas out for everybody or whatever it is, and see if you can refrain from saying it. I just did this with a parent. I'm working with them as a couple. I'm couple coaching them. Complete 180 with their child by not pushing their child in the morning. He said, we got in the car and it was amazing. Like, it was amazing. They had fun going to camp. They were driving to summer camp. They had fun. It was a beautiful time together. And he goes, you're right. We were like a minute late, but so were 20 other cars. Like, you're so afraid you're going to be late.
Right.
You're not going to be late. For millennia, we got up when it was a little light and we went to bed or started the fire when it was a little dark. We did not have the seconds ticking. When I was a girl, there was no clock in the car. You just got in the car, and when you got there, you got there. Right. You never looked at the clock to see if you were late for school.
We're always racing the clock.
And now we tick the seconds by. I don't think it's healthy.
I don't either.
And I do believe if you just give yourself a little bit of prep time, it's all going to be smooth and fine. And if you are late, that's just the way it was supposed to be that day. But your child's health and your health are so much more important than a bell ringing.
All right.
So much more important.
And the final subject, social media.
Okay.
And we did talk about that, but we're all dealing with it. We're all dealing with the dings.
Yes.
And I was going to ask you is like hobbies. You might know this more. I feel like their hobbies are down with kids because they're entertained, and they're not. They don't have to. You know what I'm saying? You had 8 hours in a day, and so you would help around the house. You don't have to anymore because of this. It keeps you entertained. It's like it's something to do before mom gets home. I'm going to go start the laundry or something. That's what things we used to do.
Absolutely.
So what do you think about this robbing kids of hobbies and putting more stress on them, and then just even being a good family member, participating, and parents are stressed out? It's like, you're on your phone, but you didn't realize that, you know what I mean? The towels need to be picked up or folded.
Yeah.
Okay, so how is a parent?
I'm going to share what the 15-year-old boy did. By the way, he passed all his classes in 6 weeks. Secondly, one of my tools is called the double yellow line. The double yellow line is all the activities of your day, you set double yellow lines between them in your calendar, and double yellow line, what does it mean on the road? Don't pass, right?
Right.
You got to stay right here, right now, right?
Yes.
Because we want to be present and mindful. How the heck do we do it? Imagine a couple sets of double yellow lines on everything you do. I'm right here now with you. I'm coaching a client later, but I'm right here now with you.
Yeah, I know, I could tell. Yeah.
So that's really important. So I get on my last call with this kid, and he had a huge smile on his face. That's when he told me he passed all his classes. And then he goes, I have a really cool way to use double yellow line that I created. I'm like, oh, tell me. So he gets home for school. For some reason, he draws a circle. You don't have to draw a circle, but he does. he sets a double yellow line in the middle. On one side are his chores that his parents want him to do, like you were just saying, and his homework assignments. On this side are fun. Go to the rec center, which is down the street, play basketball, play this video game with Ben, like whatever these things are. He goes, so I come home from school and I go over here and I get this all done, and then I can come over here and then I can do this. I go, oh, that's brilliant. So tell me how much time percentage-wise you're doing here. It goes, oh, it's 60-40. I go, so 60% homework? I go, no. That's 40% and 60% fun. And you got your assignments, like you passed all your classes. He goes, yes. Here's what's amazing. Before Pressure Free, he said, I would be 95% over here. And sometimes I never got to play because I was arguing with my parents about what I didn't do.
Yeah.
And now, because he came up with this idea, so he was empowered, because his brain was on, he was empowered, he figured this out, and he made it successful. And he goes, and I don't argue with my parents anymore.
I think that's true. I agree with you. As I think if you give them the path to figure it out themselves, they have buy in it. They're like, okay, this is going to work.
So back to the social media, he didn't have any social media on that list. He had the video game, which a lot of boys love to do, but he didn't have social media on there. So is social media a habit, or is it a fun thing, or what is it? It can be a great tool, but it's so addictive. So the question, in fact, right now my group coaching program, we're in Mastery. People who have gone through my program can go in Mastery. The one thing we all decided we wanted to do less of was scrolling.
Right.
So if the finger, whichever one you use, starts going like this, you got to lift your hand off.
Okay.
So it's going to be hard for people to take phones away from people, but sometimes you can, like one of my coaches actually, she's so addicted, she has to put it in the safe before dinner, and her husband is the only one with the combination.
Well,
so that she can't get to her phone.
I know so many people. They're with me. They're not really with me.
Yeah.
If I go use the restroom, I go get something. I get up to get something. They'll be that few seconds they're looking for something. And I understand they have to make a living, but I feel like sometimes I'm not really with me.
Yeah.
It's
I'm going to say something about that because working in the symphony world for as long as I did, the very top pros will always have time for you. It's like the next layers down that are too busy for you. And if someone is too busy, they've triggered the stress response. Because when you don't trigger the stress response, I never use that word to describe myself. And if you looked at my calendar today, you would be like, oh my God, that's insane. But no, it's not insane because I'm present and in the moment in everything I'm doing. And yeah, there's a spot on my shirt if you see it. I don't care. Like I just went out the door to come here to be with you because that's the most important thing.
I was going to say, since we talked for this interview, and then as soon as you walked in the door, I could just feel a total difference.
You look different.
Yeah, I feel like this has been one of the most calmest interviews I've ever done, and my stomach isn't, because I looking at you and trust you that I could,
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, I'm not trying to pull wool over anybody's eyes. This is true science. This is real. It really works. Plus, once you start to learn this method, you become kind of an ambassador. One of my clients, she says when she walks into work, all the tension is starting to go down.
Yeah.
And she hasn't said a word. She's just being.
Right.
So our being affects everyone near us, everyone far away too. And I believe we have a responsibility to understand this, to make the world a better place so people do thrive. Because we can't thrive when we're triggering the stress response.
No.
It's not possible.
You're trying to ward off danger.
And it shows everywhere. It shows in our tightnesses, it shows in our faces, and so it's so cool when you can break those cycles and understand, okay, and not beat yourself up. And don't try too hard because you're a high achiever.
Well, thank you. All right, so for the parents out here, grandparents that are watching, friends are saying, you know what, I could use, how do they reach you?
Yeah, well, the book is just Pressure-Free Parenting.
Pressure-Free Parenting.
Go ahead and grab it. I think you get it free on Kindle or whatever, just grab it. And if you want to know more, if you want to go deeper, have a conversation with me, you can go to my site. It's my name, Elle, and that's like the magazine Elle. And the last name is Ingalls, like Little House on the Prairie. That's how it's spelled. So ElleIngalls.com is my website, and I'm really happy to share and talk with anybody who's interested.
All right, I want to thank you for being here. So I am so happy that hearing more about your pressure-free lifestyle. And like I said, ever since we talked on the phone and I still feel like I'm listening to you and watching you. And I said, that's the life I want to live. I don't want to feel anxiety all the time. And some of us feel anxiety and don't even realize we don't have to. Right? We don't have to. All right. Thank you, Elle, for being here. We're going to have you on again, okay? I know you have events coming up throughout the year, so love to have you back on the show. All right. This is Pamela Keim from Grand Tap Media. We'll catch you next time. Take care, everyone.